There we go. Good evening, everyone, and welcome to the Olivet City Council. Can we please have roll call
Mayor Clark,
here?
Chairman Pro Tem Weil,
Here.
Councilmember Solomonov,
Here.
Councilmember Sean Hellman,
Here.
Councilmember Lewis.
Here. Okay, we're going to open for communications. Are there any communications to share?
We have no written communications.
Okay, can I please have Officer Clark welcome the third up to the office so we can swear this young man in? Right there is fine. Thank you. It's to have another wife here.
Two.
Yes, two. My other supervisors. Thank you. A little bit about you so everybody knows what great individual joining our ranks. On December 18th, 2025, Clark Weckham graduated from the St. Louis County and Municipal Police Academy. Clark is 25 years old and is incredibly grateful for the support of his wife, Melody, and his two daughters, Savannah and Margot. They are the reason he has been able to pursue his goals. Their encouragement has carried him through every step of his journey. Clark served in the military since 2018 and is currently serves with the Illinois Army National Guard as a CBRN, a chemical, biological, radiological, and nuclear specialist. Say that a couple of times. Okay. His time in the Army National Guard has strengthened his sense of duty, discipline, and commitment to protect others. In Clark's free time, he enjoys working on personal projects as well as contributing to open source software. As Clark enters the policing field, he is driven by genuine interest to engage the community and strong dedication to helping ensure that everyone makes it home safely. Okay. All right. So I need you to repeat after me, sir. I, and state your name,
I, Clark Webber,
do solemnly swear
do solemnly swear
that I possess all the qualifications
that I possess all qualifications
to serve as police officer for the city of Olivet,
to serve as a police officer in the city of Olivet,
St. Louis County, Missouri,
St. Louis County, Missouri,
and that I will support the Constitution of the United States
and that I will support the Constitution of the United States
and the state of Missouri
and the state of Missouri
and the charter and ordinances of the city of Olivet,
and the charter of the city of Olivet,
and that I will faithfully discharge the duties
that I will faithfully discharge the duties
of this office by abiding by the Law Enforcement Code of Ethics.
of this office by abiding by the law enforcement code of ethics.
I recognize the badge of my office
I recognize the badge of my office
as a symbol of public faith,
as a symbol of public faith,
and I accept it as a public trust to be held and honored.
and I accept it as a public trust to be held and honored.
Congratulations, sir. Signature here, sir. And I understand that your constituents weren't able to make it because there's some sickness in the house. That's all right. Yeah, I got a gang of them, so I understand. Let's get a picture together, shall we?
Let's get out of the way.
Right, this is a family affair. You guys stay together.
So you get to see it all.
Oh, okay. Good. All right. That's it. Congratulations, sir. I'm glad to have you on board. That's nice. Okay, at this point, we're going with the city manager's report.
We're doing.
Good evening, everyone. Okay, welcome to the first council meeting of 2026. We have a couple of things this evening. First and foremost, we'll give you an update of Olive Crossing. So Lot 3 is moving along. So the tenants are working on their respective spaces. So Paris Baguette and Brass Tap. Olivet Brass Tap has a Facebook page and they're sort of posting some construction pictures every once in a while. So if you're really interested in seeing their progress, I would encourage you to follow them on Facebook. But they are both working on their respective spaces. Tropical Smoothie, we have issued their permits, and Verizon, we have also issued their permits. I think they're also working through getting some of their mechanical, electrical, and plumbing permits through St. Louis County. So we would expect once those to be issued, more work to be started on those two tenant spaces as well. And then again, there is just the one remaining vacant tenant space for Lot 3. So as you can see, this is an aerial photo that one of our inspectors, Mike Hutstetler, took today. So this is very up-to-date photos. And so you can see that there's a lot of activity there on the site. Lot 5 is the what was originally planned to be an office, but will likely be 2 restaurants. So we've been talking about the progress of the restaurant and the vice president who came in. So the tenant and the owner are negotiating a lease. So they have exchanged edits to a lease. They're likely going to be for another couple of weeks back and forth. But once they get that lease finalized, then we will be able to announce who the new restaurant will be in the city. So as soon as we're able to announce that, we will do that. Lot 6 is the hotel. It did make it all the way through PCDC with approval. So staff is waiting for the construction drawings to be submitted. They do have a deadline per the most recent development agreement that they need to start grading on the site by January 31st. So likely what grading is going to mean is removing, they have about 1,200 or truckloads of dirt that need to be taken off that site. They have an open grading permit, so they don't need anything from us to start relocating that dirt off the site. So we have been poking the developer to get that started, and that the weather has been beautiful to be moving dirt. So we there's an expectation that things starts moving.
You say that number.
1,200, that's what they told me,
Truckload.
1,200 truckloads. It's a lot of dirt.
That's a lot of dirt.
It's a lot of dirt. And likely what happens is they often try and find another construction site that needs dirt. So that's often what they will do. So
That is weeks of
again,
leveling.
the
Yeah.
weather's beautiful.
But
They don't have to
get a foot
be-
of snow tomorrow. You just don't know.
You can still dig dirt. They don't have to be done by the 31st, but we need to see some progress. So
Mhm.
they're aware of the deadline. And then of course, lot 1 and 2, this is the Aldi, which is complete. And then lot 4 is the Clover, which is also complete. Upcoming events tomorrow morning. is Coffee with the Mayor at Five Oaks, and our guests are the owners of Paris Baguette and the owners of Brass Tap. So we would encourage people to come out and meet our future business owners here in Olivet. The pet adoption event that originally was going to happen after Thanksgiving was rescheduled. It's going to happen this Saturday from 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. Up at Five Oaks. This sort of is very timely as St. Louis County, the shelter is doing some construction. And they are at a point where they need to adopt out as many dogs or find as many foster homes as they can so they can continue that interior renovation and construction. So if you are at all able or wanting to adopt a pet, we'd certainly love to see you at Five Oaks this Saturday. The annual Citizens Police Academy is going to start back up in February. This is a cooperative with area law enforcement agencies to give citizens an opportunity to see what it is like to be a police officer. So we would encourage anyone who is interested to sign up. The City of Creve Coeur handles the signups, so you can either follow the link that's provided or the QR code, but you will land on the City of Creve Coeur page, and that you are in the right spot as they are handling signups for all of the agencies. And then we had 3 blood drives here at the city center in 2025, and we had a goal of 60 units of blood, and the citizens, actually, we exceeded our goal. We had 78 units out of a goal of 60 units, and those 78 units have the potential to impact 234 patients. So we just wanted to say thank you to everybody who came and donated and helped us exceed our goal for 2025. And then again, I just encourage everybody to sign up for the Olivet Weekly, which is the electronic newsletter that goes out every week. And then here are the upcoming meeting dates. And just a note that City Center will be closed January 19th in observance of Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. Day. Five Oaks, the hours at Five Oaks are not affected, so they will be open as normal. So I'm happy to answer any questions.
Do we have any questions from the council?
No.
Okay, then we'll move on for our city council reports. And we'll start with Councilmember Solomonov.
I have no report for today.
Okay, we'll go to Councilmember Kate Pishon Hellman.
2 things, not from meetings, but one, just I'm really happy to report. You may remember months ago when the fire department was decommissioning fire hoses, we were able to partner with a business in St. Louis, or a nonprofit, with Circular STL, and they are looking into ways to repurpose those fire hoses into bags and koozies, and so it's fun to create a new partnership and avoid some items going to the landfill.
Very
So
exciting.
we'll kind of wait to see what goodies those things are turned into, but their goal is to hopefully turn them into things that could also be used by firefighters. So
Very cool. Keep us posted.
yeah, and then the other is just a heads up about the Climate Action Summit that's taking place January 29th to the 30th. There is a special track in that Climate Action Summit for elected officials and local governments. And that's organized through 1STL, part of the East-West Gateway Council of Governments. And WashU is hosting, not at their main campus, but another site. Anyway. That's all for me.
Okay, Councilmember Lewis.
No updates since PCDC's hasn't had a meeting in a month, but we'll have one this Thursday.
Mayor Pro Tem.
No meetings at this time.
All right, I don't have anything to report as well. So we're going to, from hearing from citizens, and I don't see anyone in the room at this time, so we'll move on to the presentation and approval of financial statements and audit for the fiscal year ending June 30th, 2025. Coming to the microphone is our Department Manager for Finance, Mr. Darren Mann.
Good. Thank you. Again, my name is Darren Min. I'm the Finance Director for the city. We have a short presentation here. This is a follow-up from what we heard from Alan with UHY last week during the work session. Let's go to the next slide and we'll just get started here. Remind everybody, we have three primary documents that we use for a lot of our financial planning. This is the audited financial statements, so the only third-party look we get at this stuff. And then in June, we talk about our budget and our capital improvement plan. So with that, let's go to the next slide. And it's available right now, but we don't have anybody in the audience. So these are all available, all the archives back 10 or 11 years are all in there. That's 109 pages. Let's go ahead and go to the next slide. But you can see the cover there. 109 pages. We'll just talk about a couple. And then to summarize, since the work sessions aren't recorded, we do have, Alan told us about an unqualified clean opinion, which is good. And then it is 109 pages because we have some advanced kind of statistical section in the back and more budgetary comparison schedules throughout. And it's the certificate of achievement is kind of the gold star for reporting for governmental reports. This will be our 9th year to receive that award. Management report, which is online. I won't go over it there, but you can see there's no recommendations on kind of improvements that they saw, no findings, and then no difficulties with me or the staff in preparing the audit. So all good news, kind of housekeeping stuff. If we were to go forward, go ahead, let's go one. Not much there, but the management discussion and analysis is first. If we only have 15 minutes, I'd ask that we read these first 10, 15 pages. But the highlights you would see there that $2.2 million worth of grants were administered. The opening of the trails and sections of the Centennial Greenway, Centennial Greenway Trail, which is part of that $2.2 million in grants. Our net position decreased $440,000. However, if we were to take away the TIF notes, it would have been a $5 million increase. And then just to kind of recap where we're at, there are $24.1 million in TIF notes and unpaid accrued interest that sit on our the government-wide, which is the full accrual balance sheet, and it really drags down the net position inside of that on that statement. If we were to take that away, and the reason we would so kind of classify that is the city will never have to actually repay that itself. Once the TIF expires, then so does the debt. From there, $293,000 decrease in our general fund balance. We'll talk about that in a second. Overall, in all of our governmental funds, which would summarize all of our financial reporting that we talk about every month, would be a $253,000 increase. And so it will go with some of the other things we'll talk about in a little bit. We concentrate a lot on our general fund. It has a lot of our operations and a lot of money in it. But we have other special revenue funds that are mostly sales taxes and other kinds of taxes that we can use as tools and ask to help with operations oftentimes. And then the other kind of big item that sits on a balance sheet from a government-wide is the statement of net position is the pension items, which is pension assets and then those liabilities. In all of that, we had a 10% improvement in our net pension liability, so kind of the bad side, to $9.1 million. So between $25 million to $24.1 in TIF, $9.1 million in net pension liability, it turns in, I want to say somewhere in the negative 2,600 in kind of this unrestricted net position. And so with those two things, again, TIF would never have to be repaid once it expires, that disappears. And then the net pension liabilities are difficult to manage in 1 year over even short, even medium periods of time. They also get paid out over long periods of time, something to manage, but not something that we kind of would manage at the near-term policy level, even at my level or even at staff level. It happens at council and at that pension board level. Something to discuss, but we won't be discussing it much more tonight. So At our highest level, let's go one more slide. We can see that this is a lot of what we saw last year. We have confirmation of a transition that's happened with our financial statements and within the city kind of operations itself. Our capital projects are largely grant funded. Previous to that, they would be they were a lot of debt or bond funded between a lot of the parks, this building, and at Five Oaks. Now we're transitioning into big capital items are grant funded. We have some matching inside of there. We have some costs ourselves. What we're going to be looking forward towards too is the cost share. We're right in the middle of it. We're going to see more of that kind of thing. North Price, they're redoing North Price Road. It'll be largely an NSTP project, and we're putting in some, but also grant funded itself. We can't fund these things ourselves oftentimes. Our sales taxes have waned, but they are recovering a little bit, and we're looking toward the future for some more expectant growth with some of our developments. Five Oaks has opened, but there's little change otherwise. So the drag that we had is still kind of the drag that still remains, and something that we'll be talking about in the future. We remain in front of a mid grants funded boom. Like I just said, most of our capital grants will be done through capital items. The projects will be funded through grants. And so from a high level, our expenditures are continue to face inflationary pressures with wages, with the things that we buy. Some things we don't buy very often, but when we've had to buy them over the 2 or 3 or 4 years, we see that the prices have increased, and those bleed over into our budgets, and those nickels and dimes add up. The revenues, like I said, are expected on a lot of this redevelopment. The sales tax waning, not unique to us. Inflationary kind of pressures, that's not unique to us either. So one thing that is unique and kind of adds a real brightness to some of these charts we're going to look at is that we have businesses that are opening. We have people that want to build here, and that's a really provides a lot more in some ways unknowns, but in other ways it can make you a little bit more comfortable with some of those expenditures going up in that gap. Our reserve policy will govern this in the meantime, and that's what we've been talking about for the last year, and we'll continue to. Another big highlight, I guess, at the highest level is that our Parks Foundation here is reported here for the first time. It gets kind of shoved in the back because it's a non-major fund in page 62, 63, but that's it is with our reporting and financial reporting, and it will remain that way. So, before I go any further, you can more than happy to raise your hand or just peek your eyebrows is all it takes sometimes. Okay. Good. Statistical set. Let's go to the next page. In the back, we get our financial statements and a lot of the components over time, and we get them over 10 years, and you can really show and you can really look at maybe different ways to look at a set of numbers. Unfortunately, the way the governmental financial statements are set, they're 1 year. They're not even comparative with the year before. You could compare budget to actuals later on, but the only chance you'll really get is with a statistical section in the back. You'll also get some debt-related information over time and some of the overlapping debt, which is how much does a citizen here, how much do they have the debt load of the Ladue School District along with St. Louis County? What is it per person? And it can be, it's a little trivial to us. But the rating agencies do look at that stuff as far as what should we look at for the future. So we show great growth over the last 10 years. On top of that is great growth in our expenditures and our revenues. The core revenues are fairly stable, and the metrics look fairly stable. When I say that is a lot of our sales taxes, while they have went down, the special revenues have stayed pretty even. Property taxes continue to go up, our valuations continue to go up, and usages in our utilities continue to be stable. So like it says there, we have our special revenues. So our special revenues are the extra sales taxes, capital improvement. We have a stormwater park sales tax. We have a fire operations sales tax. Those are special revenues because they're dedicated for a special use. Those are outside of the general fund, and again, we don't talk about them a lot, but they are being asked to help, and they do show growing fund balances inside of that too, which is good because those it's on the recovery of those sales taxes. One thing I asked, I spoke about last week, after Alan had kind of done with this thing is on page 10. And so let's go to the next slide and we'll kind of look at this. Now, the dark lines, I know there's a lot going on. The dark lines, which is red and blue, are the chart that's on page 10. So what I did is I took the budgeted numbers at that time and kind of overlaid them on that same chart. And what the big note here is that in FY26, the very end, they all match. This is what we budgeted. This is what these looked like when the day that we approved the budgets. And then we see actual results in these dark blue lines, and they all kind of tell a story. So we'll take apart one at a time. Let's go to the next slide. And this is what it looked like when we budgeted this. And they're really close. I will only note that in FY21 is really close to FY26. In FY20 and 21, we were seeing a wane in our sales taxes, and in FY18 was when the sales taxes began. So in 18, they happened quickly. We weren't sure if they're going to stay in 19, and then we budgeted somewhere close there. And then they gave out in 20 toward the end of 19, and then in 20 and 21 really weren't sure what was going to happen throughout the pandemic, and so we get negative budgeting. And so in 26 was the same as 25, and we kind of face the same things of how much is enough and how much is too much and how long can we continue this. So with that, let's go to the next slide and we'll look at just our expenditures. And there's a reason for that, but mostly because this is a little more boring. On the expenditure side, the highlights that we see here that create a lot of these big gaps. In FY20, we had a heavy turnover in our fire department. And then in FY24, which has another bigger gap here, heavy turnover in our police and fire department, in the police department that continued into 25. And then in FY25, we had a lot of part-time wage variances as we have adjusted to what is happening at Five Oaks. And so it creates gaps inside of our expenditures. Now, this is just one side, but you can see these are all, fairly close to what we get. But if we go to the next slide and on the revenue side, you can see huge variations. Now, this can be caused by lots of things. But first and foremost, are we okay? Your monitor died? Okay. Okay, good. No, you're fine. Just want to make sure we get enough time to pay attention. The sales taxes in FY18. So in 18, we see this is the first year of the big increase in our sales taxes. This is the last time we'll kind of see this chart. If we were to look at it before, you'll see this huge climb up to where these levels that we're at right now. 19, pretty close, but we see those sales taxes on the dark blue line actually kind of go down a little bit. And so that affects your budgeting for the next year, and that's why we see that gap. But lo and behold, it held out. They were waning, but in FY20, this was increased by 300,000, which is about one of those little ticks right there on the chart because we sold City Hall. So if we take that away, you see this dip a little bit. And then in FY21, we see also a pretty decent gap there. And that's because late in the year, we received about 500,000 in CARES Act funding. So there's two little blips on this, two little notches inside of that blue line that raise it up. 22, nice boring year, and we were actually pretty close. In 23, late in the year, we see there's a gap there. In 23, it accelerated as everything kind of worked its way up, but we received a settlement from the cell phone companies for non-payment of taxes that had been going on for 7, 8 something odd years. And so why would that increase in our budgets? We didn't predict that. It's because we thought Five Oaks was going to open. So we were right, really close in FY23, but for all the wrong reasons. It's a one-time revenue source. The other thing I'll note as we get these things, usually when you see a big revenue source like that, you'll see a budget amendment because there's probably something we want to spend it on, right? Yeah, somebody like a one-time thing, let's spend it on something. These all came in like April and in May, and so sometimes even in June. So we weren't even able to like predict that it was going to happen and then do a budget amendment to spend it. So what that does, it all goes into the bank account, and we continue on with our spending. And then we're talking about the next year's budget, which we in general won't do much for deficit spending. So in FY24 then, what do we see here? This huge gap, and it looks like we're driving this place off the cliff. The community, this is the first full year of our community center, so we had some advanced costs. It opened in November. Our costs began here in September to kind of open and prepare that. It was also some of the like upfitting and general items that we had thought would have been included with those bond funds. There was no more bond funds to spend, so they ended up sitting here in our general fund. And then in FY25, we would have had the same deficit sitting here without the reallocation of the ARPA funds. So what we see is this gap here in 25 and into 26, and this gap remains today. And it's largely caused by two things. One, the opening of the community center, that subsidy, and that decline in sales taxes. And so these are things we're going to be continuing to talk about, and we're expectant that these things will go up. You can see where we expect the line to be here on this light blue line. So more variability, all with a story. And like I said last week, I don't expect, you never expect one-time revenue sources. But there's a lot of them in this chart that all adds up to, this is why we have this larger fund balance. And so now with our, we're going to look at, go one more slide, and we're going to look at it one more time about what this looks like and it's a mess. But the reason it looks mess and it's kind of dirty here is because they're all so close together. These things don't end up, these gaps that we get even in like FY25 and the budget for 26. These are the one for 25 is listed there, like I said, is about $300,000. And this is on, you know, $8, $9, $10 million worth of revenue. And so, like I said, they're close and it makes it hard to really read what's going on. But if we go to our next slide, you can see then it converts into something like this. And this takes just the FY26 budget. It has a 25 audit, the 26 then budget. And then we can see that kind of declining blue line that we've been talking about for, you know, we're pushing it a year now, and we'll continue to kind of talk about it, about what it means. Now, if you remember in June, we approved a budget that was out of compliance with our reserve policy. But lo and behold, here, if we had had our crystal ball, we would have actually been in compliance. And I'll reiterate those things, that the reallocation of that ARPA money really boosted up into the neighborhood of $300,000 or $400,000, $500,000. It increased that fund balance just with the stroke of a pen. In FY26, we had this an upswing in our revenues with the open of Aldi, and in governmental accounting, you get to count the first 2 months of the current fiscal year, so it would be July and August. You get to move them back because of when those sales occurred at the cash register, and so we get to count those. So we had an upswing that increased that fund balance. And then if we were to look at our expenses for FY26, our workers' comp, we didn't get the actual update of the rates until after our budget was approved, just a day or two after. So we had been signaled that it was going to be 20%, and it ends up being about 10. So that's savings that we'll carry into for next year. It wouldn't necessarily be reflected in this in that blue line quite yet, but as we enter our budgeting season, we'll be taking a look at those things. So that is what we see last week was Alan looking at June 30th of 25. That's 6 months ago. What does it mean for today? And we can kind of see what it means, and hopefully we can get at least maintain our confidence in our budgeting, even though we said we're out of compliance, even though we have some of these deficits. I think it's under control, and we can continue this line right here for about 15 years, just like that. And so we have time. We can see what happens at our developments. We can see what happens at Five Oaks, and we can adjust our expenditures as we go forward.
No,
Yeah.
When you say continuing line for 15 years, 'cause
Yeah.
I'm seeing in 5 years, we're almost right at, if I'm reading this right, we're
Yeah.
about right at compliance. But another year after that, we could be out
Sure.
of compliance, correct?
Right. And so the difference is reserve policy compliance versus like out of money. And that's what I said.
Agreed,
Yeah, yeah.
agreed.
yeah.
I guess I'm always of the view, and I think Mitchell Solomon will agree with me, but like, yeah, so it's, and I know it's not for tonight, but just how do we make that line stop going down, of course, at the end?
Yeah, and how much is enough? And at what point should we? And what happens? How do you make that line go down? You make that line go down by increasing revenues or cutting, expenses, or a combination of both. And
I mean, not go down, but not stop going down. Yes.
yep, I understand what you're saying. And that's what the things we've been kind of talking about. We talked about it at the beginning of December. Should we change how much is enough?
Can you remind me again what the reserve policy percentage is?
Sure, it's 50% in the current year, so FY 26, and 50% of expenditures as we project into for.
Oh, it's so 50% of the general fund. I mean,
Yeah, that's right.
okay.
Yep.
Is that what you refer to as the floor?
You could, yeah, that's right, yeah. And so we could establish a floor of 5 million. That would be like a true floor that would never really move. Like we want 5 million bucks in the bank because I think we could, get through about anything when it comes to that. So again, tonight, this is kind of a summary of where we've been and maybe where we're kind of heading. And so as we begin budgeting, we begin some of our goal setting process, and we can make better decisions and maybe be more comfortable with what that line looks like in the future. And, what should the line look like? What should the orange bars look like?
And can you remind me, Darren, is
Mhm.
that line based on assumptions that what happened this year will happen next year? For
yeah.
determining the way that line is?
Largely, we'll say like 1 to 2% increases in revenues and then 3 to 4% increases in expenditures.
Okay.
It varies a little bit, and we can definitely get into those kinds of things as and those things we talk about with some of our budgeting exercises, just to make sure, because I can make that number, we can make that line do a lot of things with just a 1 or 2% will do a big difference in that.
Well, and I think about like, for example, the hotel and potentially the restaurants or whatever it is.
Yeah.
Do we say, well, it's going to be more than 1% because that's actually, 3 big things opening up or something like that.
You bet.
So,
those are really big key assumptions to kind of do.
but are they
Yeah.
usually included in here, or no, you're more conservative?
Right. Those are not in there. There is no
Okay.
hotel inside of this. There is Irvington Place, an increase in
Sure.
In the property taxes. That's going to open and it's going to be, it's going to be taxed.
Okay.
And so if it's out of the ground, and usually it will occur inside of our reserve policy, our forecasting.
So I'm gathering,
Yeah.
and I'm not disagreeing with you, but you're less concerned than we are, partially because things change always, right? So we'll adjust and we'll kind of see, and we know good things are coming potentially. So
I know the numbers and I'm comfortable. That does not mean that you have to be comfortable with that.
no, but it makes me feel better if you're scared. So it's good.
And that's right. If we had no idea, if we had an RFP going over here and the developer just went bankrupt,
Yeah.
and the banking is troubling, I think we have a different conversation. If we
Well,
don't have people building apartments.
And if we had to me, my bigger concern would be is if we had no foresight into future revenue growth, other than hope or tax increase or something like that. But we have projects we know are coming. They're not built yet. Things happen, delays happen, people go bankrupt,
Yeah.
et cetera, et cetera. But that's at least a positive trend that isn't part of here yet. So to your point, some leniency to say what happens in a year or two, kind of watching it is.
So for example, as we come, we're gonna have a couple sales tax generators coming online here in the next couple months, and we'll be including those in our forecasting. They're not in there at all right now.
That's good to know. Yeah.
Yeah, it is. And so we can talk about what those mean. That's part of forecasting.
Yep.
Mhm.
Okay.
Good. The only thing I would ask, if we go one more slide, is an approval of the audited financial statements as presented.
I'll entertain a motion.
I'll make a motion to approve the audited financial statements as presented on January 13th.
Second.
Can we please poll the council?
Councilmember Lewis.
Yes.
Councilmember Pashon Hellman.
Yes.
Councilmember Solomonov.
Yes.
Chairman Pro Tem Weil.
Yes.
Mayor Clark.
Yes.
Motion is passed.
Thank you,
Thank
Mr.
you.
Mayor. All right, so now we're going on to item number 7, the pension board appointments. Are there any presentations?
Just a short, not even really a presentation, but just a confirmation that at the work session last week, the council interviewed candidates for the pension board. There are 2 openings. And so the staff is requesting a motion to appoint Mr. Nate Mahoney to the pension board for the term that's ending July 31st, 2028, and then appointing Ms. Chassie Smith to the pension board to complete the unexpired term of Mike Rendenberg ending July 31st, 2026.
Are there any questions from the council?
The very small detail, but Mike Rettenberg's last name is misspelled, has an extra N in there.
We will take that out.
Okay. Well, I'll entertain a motion to approve.
I'll make a motion to appoint Nate Mahoney to the pension board for the term ending on August 31st, 2028, and appointing Chassie Smith to the pension board to complete the unexpired term of Mike Vredenberg ending on August 31st, 2026. Sorry, July 31st, thank you, 2026.
Second.
Okay, can we please poll the council?
Councilmember Lewis,
Yes.
Councilmember Pashon Hellman,
Yes.
Councilmember Solomonov,
Yes.
Chairman Pro Tem Weil,
Yes.
Mayor Clark.
Yes.
Motion is passed.
Okay.
Were these people notified already?
Yes,
Okay.
we've taken care of all of that.
Thank you.
All the candidates have been.
All right, so part 8 is hearing from citizens. Seeing that we have none at this time, we'll go on to item number 9, review and acceptance of minutes. Are there any corrections in the minutes that anyone has seen? Okay, I will entertain a motion to approve the minutes.
I'd like to make a motion to approve the minutes from the council work session on January 6th, 2026, and council minutes from December 9th, 2025.
Second.
Okay, can we please poll the council?
Councilmember Lewis,
Yes.
Councilmember Pashon Hellman,
Yes.
Councilmember Solomonov,
Yes.
Chairman Pro Tem Weil,
Yes.
Mayor Clark.
Yes.
Motion is passed.
Okay, and we will now pause for the city attorney's report.
No report this evening, but we do need just a brief closed session pursuant to subsection 1 of 610-021.
All right, I'll entertain a motion to go into closed session for attorney-client privilege matters.
I'll make a motion to hold an executive session pursuant to the revised statutes of the state of Missouri, section 610.0211, legal action or litigation and attorney-client privilege matters.
All right, can I have a second, please?
Second.
All right, can we please poll the council?
Councilmember Lewis,
Yes.
Councilmember Pashon Hellman,
Yes.
Councilmember Solomonov,
Yes.
Chairman Pro Tem Weil,
Yes.
Mayor Clark.
Yes.
Motion is passed.
The regular meeting is now closed and we're going into closed session. We are now reopening the meeting. No decisions were made. I will entertain a motion to adjourn.
I make a motion to adjourn.
Do you have a second?
Second.
So be it.